Hey guys, Levi for the Rag Company, and with me, Mr. Dylan Von Kleist of Rupes USA. How's it going, brother?
Having fun.
It's always fun when Dylan comes to town because he brings lots of fun toys and things to play with, and my kids love you for that, and that's always a blast.
I try.
But he did bring toys and things for me to play with.
I'm kind of like Santa Claus.
Yeah, you are, kind of. You got a beard. It's just brown instead of white. But one thing we want to talk about are some of the most popular pads that Rupes has been putting out, because what most of you guys don't know is Rupes provides a complete polishing system. So compounds, pads, and tools.
Yep. And it's really kind of to provide a solution, and I'll start with an analogy, and I give credit to my colleague Todd Helm. He actually came up with this analogy. He says it's like you built a race car, right? They built a high performance tool, and then none of the pads would hold together. Right? So it's just like you went and you bought a car and you threw a supercharger or a turbo on it, and then you blow up the transmission, right? Yeah. So you have to buy a new transmission. So we had to build pads that would support the movement. Now there's tons of pads out there that support the movement, right?
Yeah, but it was a dark time in our industry when this amazing machine came out and was literally destroying every
just
pad.
Just chewing up pads and throwing them away, right?
Yeah.
So we had to, because you can't have a tool that doesn't
work
with any of the pads, right?
Yeah.
So we have to have that. And then the compounds come in as, basically we're trying to maximize the performance of the tool. People think that, oh, well, you're just saying that because you want to sell compounds and pads. It's not, because there's plenty of guys out there that are using different pads and compounds than what we sell and seeing excellent results. All we say is that it's a system that we've proven and scienced out. It works a very specific way. If you find a better way, more power to you. If you don't know and you need a starting point, we've got that solution for you, right?
Right, and it's just easier on the consumer.
Exactly. It's a validated performance. You know there's going to be a consistent result with these things. And if you want to branch out from there, I say go for it. Detailing kind of is an experimenting hobby. Guys love doing, let's try this and this and see what happens, right? But since we've released the wool, which have been on the market for just a little over a year now, I believe, these have become our #1 sellers, and it's because they just have ridiculous performance. I mean, the cut and finish on these things is insane. Well,
and one of the fun things is that is the advent of a lot of the pad manufacturers using wool with the dual action machines, which us old rotary guys, we used twisted wool for a long time.
Fibers everywhere.
Yeah, and there was reasons for it, because it cut really well, but it also ran a lot cooler.
Yep, runs cooler.
And that is a huge thing.
Yeah, because right now, currently, we're kind of this weird time in the industry. Microfiber became very prevalent as a cutting media. And it still is, and it still has. We offer microfiber pads as there's a number of
samurai sword for cutting.
And it will definitely always have an edge in cutting. But wool gives you very, very close performance in terms of cutting ability, but it doesn't get as hot. Right. It doesn't load up with paint residue and compounds as much. It's much easier to clean. It runs cooler, so the pads don't get fatigued and start losing performance. So there's a lot of benefits to wool. You'll always want to have a microfiber pad kind of in your arsenal. Is that, well, I can't cut it with wool, let me get the big guns out, right? But for your kind of default setting where I'm going to start my cutting process with, we're seeing more and more guys go to wool. I know you're a fan of these pads. Yeah. I absolutely adore these pads. I mean, just the performance I'm getting out of them. But it just comes with a lot of benefits. And it's funny, because it's kind of old technology that's been made new again. And while these are wool, it's a completely different animal than the old twisted wool dish pads that we used to have that you had to spur out, and even then they would still leave a whole sheep's worth of wool on the cowl of the car, right? Yeah. These they don't shed. You're not going to have fibers going everywhere, but we have essentially what we call our dual density. It's 2 different types of wool. This is our more aggressive, so our system, it's always blue, it's the cutting pad, and yellow, which is our medium to fine. This is a longer fiber, a little bit softer. They both cut amazingly. Yeah. You're going to get a little bit less cut out of the yellow, but a better finish. And the blue is going to be a cutting monster and might leave some softer paints a little on the hazy side, which is why I've got the yellow foam out here, which is my personal favorite, and the consumers seem to think so as well, because we sell a lot of these. Yeah. That's everybody's favorite finishing foam, but it also can be used as a medium cutter too.
Yeah, and that's what's so fun about the yellow foam, is that it's just the versatility of it. Yeah. Like you said, I've used it in so many different situations when I haven't been able to get another type of foam or pad to work. The yellow has always just been there. And it's one of those that even if you don't have any Rupes pads, it's a good reason to buy. You should have a couple of those in your arsenal.
No, it's really versatile. I mean,
because
depending on the compound you put on it, or the polish or whatever, you can get pretty decent cut out of this pad, or you can get a really fine finish. And it really just comes down to the liquid.
And it's a hardy pad.
Yeah,
it lasts a long time, which is great.
Yeah, so it's kind of tuned by the liquid, you can use the speed of the tool and your technique to tune it, but basically the foam gives you a very consistent thing that you can go, okay, I can adjust all these other variables around it, tune up or tune down by cutting or finishing ability, right? So really, I mean, if anybody's asking me for recommendations, and I get them all the time, the emails and the phone calls, you know, what pads should I start with? After I make the joke of all of them.
Right.
Then I actually...
Because that's always good. Just get all of them, then you don't have to worry about it.
But I honestly believe that between these 3 pads, you have almost everything you need for most situations. Depending on the liquid you're going to use. You've got the really heavy cutter. You've got a medium range cutter that's going to finish really well. I usually tell people to start here if there's a serious defect. And then you got this, which is a good all-arounder. Between these 3 and a couple of liquids and the right tool, you got everything you need to finish a car.
Fun fact, Anthony took one of these and one of these. Well, he took a couple of them to Florida on one of our recent trips for a Wash Wednesday, but something happened. We may not have packed everything that we needed, but he was able to knock out 2 cars and do some really, really good correction on 2 vehicles with just these 2 pads, basically. And they were able to clean them, reuse them, and keep working on the vehicle with them. So they were able to make them last through the whole thing and make the customers happy, that's a really big selling point.
Exactly, right. I mean, if you don't want to lug an entire bag of pads, I mean, we've talked about there's so many options and you have all these choices, which is a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing because then it's, well, I don't know what I'm going to take, so I'll just take everything. And there you are going to the job site with 4 bags of pads and 2 bags of compounds and all these things. If you can hone in on kind of your default system and get those to work for you in 90% of situations, let's say, then that's the thing to do. And so I'm confident that most people on most cars, between these 3 pads and a couple of liquids, will have everything they need to at least get close to their results, if not exactly there every single time. And then you obviously can have a couple specialty pads, like I said, the microfiber for that oddball situation, or maybe one of our white foam pads, the ultrafine, for a really, really soft paint. But with this 3, you're going to hit you're going to hit the target most of the time.
Which is that's why we do this. You want to know? There's your 3. Pick them up, grab some, use them, have fun with them. Dylan recommends it. I recommend it.
That'll hopefully hold water with some people.
You never know. Anyway, Dylan, thank you for coming. I always appreciate it. And as always, guys, you can like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And for more videos, stay tuned right here on the Rag Company YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.